Archetypes by Cassie, Gwen, Liz, Jordan, Catherine, and Julia.
What is an archetype? An archetype is an element of literature that appears similarly across time and culture. Plot, characters, symbol, and setting can be archetypes.
Plot archetype, tragedy. Tragedy in relation to plot is when the protagonist is a hero with one major character flaw or great mistake which is their undoing. Their unfortunate end evokes pity at their folly and the fall of a fundamentally good character. This type of plot archetype is shown in The Little Mermaid by the main character Ariel. Some other examples of tragedy plot archetypes in literature, movies, or television shows are Romeo and Juliet and the Titanic.
Romeo and Juliet. Romeo and Juliet is a story about two people, Romeo and Juliet, who are forbidden to love each other due to the fact that their families don't like each other. Despite the fact that they are not allowed to love each other or see each other, the two fall in love anyway. Romeo is told by a man, Balthazar, that Juliet was found dead. This, though, is not true. He was tricked. Romeo, not knowing that small detail, buys a vial of poison and kills himself. When Juliet finds out that Romeo is dead, she tries to kiss him so that she may die by the same means as him, and it does not work. She then picks up a dagger and stabs herself with it so she may die as well. This is an example of tragedy because the reader feels bad for the characters because it was not their fault, they were set up, and they both killed themselves due to their love.
Titanic. The Titanic is a tragic love story that involves one of the main characters, Jack Dawson, to have an unfortunate death. Jack and Rose fall in love while on the Titanic, even though they are from different social classes. When the boat hits the iceberg, the two go down together. They find a wooden platform, but it only is big enough for one person. Jack helps Rose onto the platform while he waits in the water for help. Jack eventually dies of hypothermia. This is an example of tragedy because the viewers feel bad for the poor characters. All they wanted was to be together, but unfortunate circumstances split them apart, causing the viewers to pity them.
The Little Mermaid. Tragedy is shown in The Little Mermaid because she thinks that the prince loves her, but he really loves the princess. She gives up everything for the prince, but in the end, he really does not love her but the princess. This shows tragedy because in the end of the story, she kills herself due to the fact that she cannot kill the prince. The mermaid's mistake was one that anyone can make, getting sympathy from the viewers.
Character archetype. Two types of character archetypes are hero for love and hero as a scapegoat. Hero for love. Hero for love is when the character is motivated to complete their actions by pure love. Hero for love is demonstrated in the story because Ariel had gone to the sea, which in a desperate plea to get her love, which ended up killing her. Hero as a scapegoat is when the character suffers for the sake of others. Hero as a scapegoat is shown in The Little Mermaid when she kills herself because she can't bring herself to kill the prince in order to get her tongue back and return home. Other types of character archetypes as a scapegoat or for love are Johnny from The Outsiders, Hagrid in Harry Potter, and the Chamber of Secrets, and Batman.
The Outsiders, Johnny. Johnny from The Outsiders is an example of a hero as a scapegoat because he was hurt and ultimately killed, all to save a few kids from a burning building. Johnny is a scapegoat because he suffered and died for the sake of Ponyboy and a few kids. He was a hero who did what he did for others despite the consequences.
What is a scapegoat? A scapegoat is someone who takes the blame for something they didn't do, or someone who suffers for others.
Hagrid in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. In the second Harry Potter book, The Chamber of Secrets, it is revealed that Hagrid was a scapegoat. He was blamed for the monster that was lurking in the castle and killing the students because of his love for animals and his love for his giant spider, Aragog. Hagrid was a hero as a scapegoat because he had to leave the school suffering for the sake of others. If it hadn't been for him, then the real monster and the person controlling it would never have been revealed, causing the killings to continue.
Batman, a hero for love. Batman, like the Vigilantes, Green Arrow, and Daredevil, does what he does out of love. Batman's parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, died when he was young. Batman does what he does out of the love for his parents. He knows that they would be proud of him for what he does, and he knows it is what they would want him to do. He keeps the city safe for them. The Green Arrow does what he does for the love of his city and to protect it. Daredevil fights crime because of his love for people. Batman, Green Arrow, and Daredevil are all heroes for love because their actions are motivated by love.
Symbol archetype. Symbol archetype is when there is something that reoccurs and has a universal meaning. Examples of that would be something like colors to show cultural meaning or animals to show value. Fire or water can also have greater meanings like priorities or religion. In The Little Mermaid, the symbol would be her voice because she lost it, and the greater meaning would be that the sea witch has power over her because she has the ability to take or give back her voice.
Avoxes in the Hunger Games. The Avoxes in the Hunger Games are an example of loss of freedom. The Capitol cut out their tongues because they did something wrong. As punishment, they became slaves. Voice is a symbol in the story because it symbolizes power and loss of power.
Setting archetype. Setting is where the story takes place. Where the characters live can have an alternate meaning that is deeper than it seems. In The Little Mermaid, the setting is the sea and a kingdom. The sea shows an unpredictable setting where the reader and characters feel powerlessness. A kingdom is a place where things are supposed to be calm, but things are not as they seem. In the sea, Ariel feels powerless against her family, and she feels that she needs to escape. She also feels powerless against everyone in the kingdom because she can't compete with the girls with legs.
The Sea and Charlotte Doyle. While Charlotte Doyle is on the ship in the sea, she feels powerless because she can't escape the madness that is on the ship. Captain Jaggery, who is running the ship, causes a lot of chaos on the boat. Charlotte is accused of a big mistake not made by her. She feels powerless because she can't escape the accusations and other mishaps.
Tangled in the Kingdom. When Rapunzel was a baby, she lived in the kingdom with her parents, who were the king and the queen. The kingdom was supposed to be calm by Rapunzel, but Rapunzel got kidnapped by a psychopathic woman. When she was in the tower, she felt safe, like she was never going to get hurt by the woman, who she believed was her mother. But then she found out that she wasn't who she said she was. Things were not as they seemed.
Conclusion. To sum it all up, an archetype is an element of literature that appears similarly across time and culture. Plot, characters, symbols, and settings can be archetypes. A tragedy plot archetype is when the protagonist is a hero with one major character flaw or great mistake which is their undoing. In a character archetype, a hero for love is when a character is motivated to complete their actions by pure love. A hero as a scapegoat is when the character suffers for the sake of others. Symbol archetype is when there is something that reoccurs and has a universal meaning. Setting archetype is when the setting of the story has a deeper meaning than what it seems.